Well, now, it's about 15 minutes early, but I decided to start this show early because I have to end it early. Have a meeting to attend at 10 o'clock this morning, so I wanted to get this information into your hands and into your brains. Scientists gain new understanding how your brain cells talk to one another. Gut bacteria influences the development of your brain. Really? Probiotics? Your brain? And the cause of Alzheimer progression has finally been identified. By identifying that, we can do what we can to make sure that we protect our brains from that hideous progressive disease. I had some good thoughts for a Saturday morning. Memory, focus, concentration. We'll get started here in 1 minute. The information you hear on the Nutrition Shop Health Talk with Dr. Len is strictly educational and is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. Any healthcare decision should be discussed with your health professional. And now, here is Dr. Len. And again, good morning to you all. The number to the office, 678-228-8900. Our website, the Nutrition Shop, SHOPPE.net, thenutritionshop.net. You know, a lot of us are having all kind of financial things going on now. Inflation's through the roof, thanks to the idiot that's the president. Gasoline prices through the roof. And your salary, I'm sure, is not keeping up with us. So we have less money at the end of the week, at the end of the month. And I feel it. I feel it from a lot of you that have been sending me emails saying, you know I've been doing A, B, C, and D, but I can't afford it anymore. And it's intriguing to me that when we get to these points in our lives, that things are rough, that we need to look at a budget. And again, I'm not one here to say you can't stop this, but you have to understand taking care of your health has got to be a top priority. No matter what. We got to feed our family. That's part of health. We got to keep ourselves healthy. It's part of health. Don't skimp in the wrong places. Now, it's intriguing that my devotional for today came from the book of 1 Kings. It's one you don't read that often. Chapter 17. I have commanded the ravens to feed you there. I've commanded a widow there to provide for you. The situation seemed identical in both cases, separated by a matter of weeks. God's prophet Elijah had practical needs. In both cases, God commanded that Elijah needs needed to be met. However, he met those needs in totally different ways. First, God sent Elijah to a brook where ravens brought him food. When the stream ran dry, God could have sent rain or commanded ravens to continue to feed Elijah, but instead, he sent Elijah to another location. When he arrived, Elijah met a widow. She seemed a very unlikely person to help Elijah. She had almost no food, yet God commanded her to provide for Elijah. God's direction in these two situations could hardly have been more different. We see just how differently he can work in our lives. There are no limits to the ways in which he works and how he directs our lives. He may answer a prayer, meet a need, or give direction one way or another. But this does not mean that he will act in the same way again. He often will meet our needs or answer prayers in completely different ways. Today, remember that you serve Almighty God. He is sovereign, and his ways are not your ways. Never put him in a box. Always remember that he can guide you and provide for you and answer your prayers in unique ways. Our prayer for this weekend, Father, please help me to be sensitive on the way you are speaking to me today. Teach me in your ways. In Jesus' name. I'm going to tell you a little story. I had a patient this week who has a multitude of supposed illnesses, and we did a neurotransmitter screening on her. And the numbers told a rather distinct story, and it would give us guidance on how to correct so many of the situations she was dealing with. But in the midst of this, dealing with a company called Sinesco and the CLIA licensed laboratory and the high-tech way that this lab gives you good levels of various neurotransmitters in your body, she sends me an email saying that her doctor said there's no quantification to what they do, that it's all pie in the sky. Obviously someone that really doesn't want any help. Now, the intriguing thing is, the more that you read about brain functionality, you find that the way the brain communicates with the body is through our nervous system, obviously. Our nervous system is a bunch of segmented little pieces that are tied together with something called synapses, or gaps in that extension cord from the brain. And in every one of those synapses, the body stores various levels of neurotransmitters. And it's intriguing because I'm going to read to you from this article that says experts from the University of Nottingham have discovered that, listen up, reversing the modification of molecular messages at synapses in the human brain. Reversing modification. Changing so that if it's over-excitatory, make it more inhibitory. If it's more inhibitory, make it more excitatory. That's what we do when we work on these things. It goes on to say this may contribute to reversible mental health and lower anxiety and memory diseases such as dementia. The findings published in the Journal of Molecular Psychiatry are a major step in our understanding how brain cells communicate and could help identify new treatments for neurological and psychiatric conditions. The research was led by Dr. Helen Miranda Knight of the School of Life Sciences, along with researchers across the schools of medicine, life sciences, and biosciences. Nerve cells in the human brain talk to one another at sites called synapses. That's what I had told you, where molecules are released to signal to the next cell. When people learn or remember things, this signaling is strengthened. When communication between the synapses goes wrong, circuits become broken. As more circuits are lost, this changes how people can think and perform everyday tasks. This is seen in cognitive disorders such as the forms of dementia and some mental health conditions. The function of nerve cells and synapses depends on proteins that are made using information encoding in genetic material called RNA. It's thought that RNAs are located exactly where and when they are needed for synaptic signaling. Scientists have recently learned that RNA can have a methyl group molecular added to one of its RNA bases which marks this message. Such adding of methyl groups can influence proteins binding to DNA or RNA. Methyl groups. We talked about the use of something called methionine, which is an essential amino acid, which can be utilized as the raw material for the production of these neurotransmitters. And to produce these requires a donation of methyl groups, which is why we've done a lot of genetic testing over the years for that MTHFR gene. I know this is getting cumbersome, it's getting confusing. But just understand, the researchers used advanced microscopy to examine changes in this RNA in time and location at these synapses, and sequencing techniques to characterize marked RNA in the brain tissue. This new study, says Dr. Knight, we were able to gain a new understanding of the genomic mechanisms which regulate how nerve cells communicate at synapses. These genomic mechanisms involve methyl groups being put on RNA messages. The implications are very important for normal brain function, but also for reversible psychiatric mental conditions such as anxiety and addiction disorders and early stage neurodegenerative diseases such as dementias. Taking methyl donations. You go to a methyl bank and get those? No. You have to do that through the supplemental forms that can be utilized for the human body. Methyl B12, methylfolate, donations. One of the things we talked about is our Shake a Day Club, where we've been using that Ultra Cleanse. And inside of there are the menthol donators, along with all your multiple vitamins and your fish oil and your probiotics and everything else. So you just take a shake a day and you're in good shape. Want more information on that, call our staff at the office. Story number 2, gut bacteria influences brain development. Researchers discover biomarkers that indicate early brain injury in extreme premature infants. Extremely premature infants are at high risk of brain damage. Researchers have now found possible targets for the early treatment of such brain damage outside the brain. Listen to this. Bacteria in the gut of premature infants plays a critical role. The research team found that the overgrowth of the gastrointestinal tract with the bacterium Klebsiella is associated with an increased presence of certain immune cells and the development of neurological damage in premature babies. Keep enough of the good in during the course of the entire pregnancy for proper brain development. How about as adults? The early development of the gut, brain, and immune system are closely interrelated. Researchers referred to this as the gut-immune-brain axis. Bacteria in the gut cooperate with the immune system, which in turn monitors gut microbes and develops appropriate responses for them. In addition, the gut is in contact with the brain via the vagus nerve as well as via the immune system. We investigated the role this axis plays in brain development of extreme preterm infants. Now, you're going to say, well, that doesn't affect me, but this continues through the course of our lifetime. He goes on to say, we've been able to identify certain patterns in the microbiome and the immune response that are clearly linked to the progression and severity of brain issues. Listen to this about our Ultra Probiotic. Hey everybody, I want to talk to you for just a minute about our probiotic of choice called our Ultra Probiotic. Delivers 30 billion viable organisms per serving of 10 different beneficial strains. A combination of freeze-dried probiotic bacteria with inulin, a beneficial prebiotic. 30 billion organisms in 2 capsules. Each capsule has 15 billion good bacteria. Ultra Probiotic contains both probiotics and prebiotics that work together to support digestion in the immune system. Featuring a proprietary blend of 10 different probiotic strains plus inulin, a prebiotic that stimulates the growth of friendly intestinal bacteria to support colon health. As a dietary supplement, 2 vegetable capsules daily, preferably with a meal. Conforms to USP for weight, dissolution, disintegration, and maximum bioavailability. Contains no artificial colors, flavors, sweeteners, no preservatives, no sugar, no starch, no soy, no wheat, no fish, and it is sodium-free and non-GMO. Made in USA in an FDA-registered facility in Tennessee by good manufacturing practices. Again, our probiotic of choice, our Ultra Probiotic, 60 capsules in a bottle. If you want more information on that, by all means, give our staff a call at 678-228-8900. That's 678-228-8900. And get our Ultra Probiotic into your life for you and your family. Take care. University of Cambridge is this next article. The causes of Alzheimer's progression in the brain. You know, out of all the disease states that medicine has come upon, they probably have struggled more here than on anything. Studies have been going on for almost 40 years now. A long, long time ago, and it's a still continuation, I believe, there was this study that was being done in France called the Nun Study, N-U-N, where convents of nuns, upon their demise, their death, were donating their brains to science because it was a closed environment. They all ate the same. They all had the same levels of stress. They all had the same environment. So they wanted to find out, was there something for those that developed dementia or Alzheimer's versus those that didn't? What was different in their lives that showed the difference? Now, obviously, when they did the biopsies and they looked at the brains of those with Alzheimer's, they noticed distinct changes called tau, T-A-U, and different precipitations within the brain that caused tangles, and the brain couldn't function properly. But they went back. They went back and said those that played a musical instrument were less likely. Those that did crossword puzzles were less likely. Those that read more books were less likely. You know what that's called? Exercising your brain. Here's what the University of Cambridge said. For the first time, researchers have used human data to quantify the speed of different processes that lead to Alzheimer's disease, and found that it develops in a very different way than they thought all along. Their results could have important implications for the development of potential treatments. This came out October 29th. The international team led by the University of Cambridge found that instead of starting from a single point in the brain and initiating a chain reaction which led to the death of brain cells, Alzheimer's disease reached different regions of the brain early. How quickly the disease kills cells in this region? Through the production of toxic protein clusters, which inhibits the brain from functioning properly, limits how quickly the disease progressed overall. The researchers used post-mortem brain samples, this is what I was talking to you about, from Alzheimer's patients, as well as from PET scans from living patients, who ranged from those with mild cognitive impairments to those with full-blown Alzheimer's disease. They wanted to track the progression of tau, T-A-U, one of the two key proteins implicated in this condition. In Alzheimer's disease, tau and other protein called amyloid beta build up in tangles and plaques known collectively as aggregates, causing brain cells to die and the brain basically to shrink. This results in memory loss, personality changes, and difficulty carrying out daily functions in life. By combining 5 different data sets and applying them to the same mathematical model, the researchers observed that the mechanism controlling the rate of progression of Alzheimer's disease is the replication of aggregates in individual regions of the brain and not the spread of aggregates from one region to another. Now, that may not sound much to you, but up to this point, we thought it started with a little spot and just spread. Started with a little, but now we're finding out, no, it's in multiple regions and a continuum that could start as early as our midlife. For many years, the processes within the brain which result in Alzheimer's disease have been described using a term like a cascade or a chain reaction. It is a difficult disease to study since it develops over decades, and a definitive diagnosis can only be given after examining samples of brain tissue after death. We still have no definitive way, even though there is a blood test that seems to be giving us some indication called apolipoprotein E. For years, researchers have relied largely on animal models to study this disease. Results from mice suggest that Alzheimer's disease spreads quickly as the toxic protein clusters colonize in different parts of the brain. The thinking had been that Alzheimer's developed in a way that was similar to cancer. The aggregates form in one region and then spread throughout the brain, said Dr. George Macy. This is the first time that human data has been used to track which processes control the development of Alzheimer's disease over time. It was made impossible in part by the chemical kinetics approach applied at Cambridge over the last decade, using PET scans. Now, the researchers found that the replication of tau aggregates is surprisingly slow, taking up to 5 years. Neurons are surprisingly good at stopping aggregates from forming, but we need to find ways to make them even better if we're going to develop an effective treatment. It's fascinating how biology has evolved to stop the aggregation of proteins. The researchers say their methodology could be used to help the development of treatments for Alzheimer's disease, which affects an estimated 44 million people worldwide. The key discovery is that by stopping the replication of aggregates, rather than their propagation, is going to be more effective at the stages of disease that we've studied. The researchers are now planning on looking at earlier processes in the development of the disease, and extend their studies to other diseases such as frontal temporal dementia, traumatic brain injury, and progressive subnuclear palsy. Now, we mentioned earlier, methyldonation became a critical part here in brain functionality. Neurotransmitter balance, critical part of neurotransmitters and brain functionality. Feeding the brain becomes a critical factor. Understanding that the brain is basically good fat. Fish oil becomes a critical factor. It does. The right forms, the right dose. We have seen over and over again how DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, that part of that fish oil concept, works amazingly well. So if you're sitting there on the cusp saying, well, I just listen to you, it doesn't make much sense to me, but I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to protect my brain. We have a prep called Brain Boost. At least do some of the basics. Our omega 900s, at least do some of the basics. Let's do a genetic test from a swab of your mouth just to find out if you aren't methylating properly, if that's a contributing factor down the road. And then, to the nth degree, let's do a neurotransmitter test. A critical test that can tell you what those levels are and how they could possibly be reversed. If it's overstimulated, let's do and add some inhibition. If it's over-inhibited, let's add some stimulation. Disease states such as autism, such as ADD, such as Parkinson's, all play a role within this brain functionality concept. Now, we call it a consult. I want you to consider this. Please listen. Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Len, and I want to talk to you today about a consultation, a nutritional consultation. What's that all about? It's what we do. It's a personal one-on-one time that we put aside, whether it be via social media or Zoom or in person, where we can have the ability to work closely to enhance your health. The aim is to enhance your bodily functions, alleviate symptoms of illness, improve your lifestyle through a nutritional intervention. Some people simply want to undergo a diet to ensure they're eating correctly and avoid illness. Other people have medical problems or are suffering from various symptoms that they believe can be alleviated by making nutritional changes to their diet. Other common reasons to undergo a consultation include a desire to lose weight, digestive issues, skin complaints, low energy, lethargy, stress, fertility issues, competitive sports, the list goes on. Before your consultation, we'll ask you to complete a comprehensive questionnaire. This questionnaire will focus on all aspects of your diet and lifestyle, medical history, medications you may be taking, current health concerns, and really importantly, your goals. We may also ask you to do a food and drink diary for those 3 days, maybe up to a week, so we can document everything you eat and drink during that time. Once you've completed this questionnaire, we'll look it over, and then we'll have a one-on-one consultation, usually about an hour to an hour and a half. And during that time, you'll talk through the questionnaire and diary as well as discuss your lifestyle, your current exercise regimen, your health concerns, your family medical history, your existing symptoms, and really importantly, again, your goals. You can also discuss underlying emotional issues that may be affecting your mood, eating patterns, lifestyle. During this in-depth discussion, you may be asked to do some functional tests, saliva, blood, etc., to try to pinpoint specifically what's going on. Once we have a full and complete picture of your current nutritional, physical, and emotional situation, we'll develop a plan for you. That may involve some nutritional dietary issues, working with our dietitian, working with our chef, or supplements. We can add those to the regimen as well. Vitamins, minerals, fiber, fatty acids, amino acids. But to get the most out of a nutritional consultation, you need to be as frank and honest as you can. The more complete picture that we have of what's going on in your system, the better that we can help you. If you're interested in getting started, give us a call, 678-228-8900, or reach out to us through our website at thenutritionshop.net. The brain is a terrible thing to lose. The information that I just shared with you today said there is hope. Now, intercepting somebody that's already into that world of Alzheimer's is difficult. And I'm not going to say totally impossible, but it's difficult. Just so you know that I understand by getting some inside information that one of the major drug companies just applied for a new drug application for a combination prep of N-acetylcysteine at a high dose, NAC, along with a high dose of CBD. They found that the two preps taken together could literally stop the progression relatively well of Alzheimer's disease. Is that enough information for you to do something like that? Possibly. Builds more glutathione in the anti-inflammatory effects of the endocannabinoid system with CBD. It's pretty critical. It's pretty critical. So once again, I want you to listen because all CBD is not created equal.
Hi, this is Dr. Len. I just want to talk to you for a minute about CBD. It's all over the news now. Cannabidiol. It's the non-psychoactive phytocannabinoid molecule derived from hemp. So what's hemp? It's a plant extract. It's a grain for which they do derive a biochemical matrix of phytocannabinoids and terpenes. So it basically says, much like they make beer out of hops and grains, we can extract CBD out of hemp as well. Now, that's number one. CBD is the main prominent molecule out of the 80-plus cannabinoids found in the cannabis plant family. So I know there's been controversy galore. What's the difference? Well, cannabis, again, does deliver CBD. Hemp delivers CBD, the exact same chemical structure, but without the psychoactive part to it. Now, we've been looking for the highest quality full-spectrum extracts. We just recently partnered with Nutritional Frontiers, who manufactures a USA form, organic, all organic form, supercritical CO2 extraction process, no toxic chemical solvents, pesticides, or herbicides ever used, and it's distilled to reduce odor and taste. We also have this now available in a tincture form, unflavored, mint, cinnamon, and lemon. Concentrated and safe for the entire family. Full spectrum hemp extract delivering CBD. Our pure CBD isolate products to help balance and regulate the endocannabinoid system. Great for pain, great for sleep, great for anxiety, great for numerous numbers of issues dealing with health. If you want more information, stop into our shop or give us a call at 678-228-8900, and our staff will be glad to give you some more information on Nutritional Frontiers Full Spectrum Hemp Extract CBD. We look forward to working with you. Take care.
Again, you can call our staff at 678-228-8900 or reach out to us through our website at thenutritionshop.net, where you can actually access all the great products we talk about, all the Made in America products that we talk about each and every day. God bless you, folks. Have a great, healthy weekend, and we'll see you back here soon. Take care.